a session. Sorry. All right. Go ahead and share my screen. So this again is just a very quick video on recreation management. Hi, my name is Dr. Rodriguez, and I'm the Program Director for the Recreation Management major here at Springfield College. Please join me as I introduce our program and the recreation profession. Recreation management is a profession which focuses on the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to not only create and deliver recreation programs and special events, but also to manage recreation facilities and supervise staff, including volunteers, needed to provide quality recreation experiences. But what really is recreation management? Here's a quick snapshot into the profession.
I know growing up, I loved going to my neighborhood park, especially for those of us who didn't grow up with a lot of money and you couldn't afford a lot of the specialty activities. Having something like a park that anybody could go into, and whether it's take a walk or play a game of tag, if your local park had a pool and you could swim, you know, there was just so many different things that offer such a wide variety of services to everyone.
We're not just providing playgrounds or places to play or a swimming lesson or a class. We're making a difference in the lives of a generation and impacting communities everywhere we are.
Recreation professionals provide opportunities for individuals to experience special moments. We are here for our community throughout their entire lifetime of recreation enjoyment. Regardless of their age, gender, or ability, we provide opportunities for individuals to grow, develop, and compete. We work in service-oriented nonprofit organizations like the Y and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We work in military bases to ensure the health and well-being of our servicemen and women and their families. We work in private businesses that provide unique recreation opportunities for customers. We also work in the great outdoors, ensuring the protection and preservation of our natural spaces. And we work in your community through park and recreation departments, which provide recreation facilities, programs, and special events for the enjoyment and well-being of their citizens. Our industry continues to grow. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of recreation workers is projected to grow 10% and 17% for social community service managers from 2019 to 2029. This is much faster than the average for all occupations. As you can see, salaries in our field differ based on type of position and responsibilities, but they continue to be competitive in the field. Our recreation management program has been preparing students for the recreation profession since 1946. Because of our success, we have an extensive network of alumni professionals in the field. Today, students can expect to receive personalized attention while engaging in courses focused on recreation programming, event management, budgeting, leadership, marketing, and human resources, to name a few. Our curriculum is designed to help students gain a solid foundation in recreation management while providing students with opportunities to pursue unique recreation specialties. Our General Recreation Management program has also been accredited since 1983, so you can be sure that the most critical industry standards are being met throughout our program. One unique aspect of our program is that students begin to gain practical experience as early as their first year through the creation and delivery of special events. These special events are aimed at not only helping our students, but also those in our community. This can be through the learning of new activities, both in smaller events, such as the one you see here, or larger events, such as our Play Ball event that we have implemented in collaboration with the Red Sox Foundation. Our students culminate the recreation management program with an intensive internship designed to help propel them into their chosen recreation specialty. Here are a few examples of recreation specialties and locations where our students have completed their internships. I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction into the recreation profession and the recreation management major here at Springfield College. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about our recreation management major, please don't hesitate to contact me. So that gives you just a quick image into the profession and a lot of the reasons why I fell in love with the field. Once I learned about it and realized how big the industry it was easy for me to fall in love because I loved recreation and sports. In my personal life, I know what it did to help me grow and develop, and I just wanted that same opportunity for other people. So that's just a little bit quick glimpse of it. And if you did want to know more about it, I gotta be able to happy to answer questions about it. Um, but I did want to transition now to therapeutic recreation. Now, therapeutic, I don't have a video for therapeutic recreation, but I do have the courses
Yeah.
that are aligned, so we can take a look at the curriculum. So I'll be able to share that with you. But in very just in general sense, therapeutic recreation, or sometimes it's called recreation therapy. There's actually there's a lot of reasons behind it, but so we just normally call it therapeutic recreation. The major association is the American Therapeutic Recreation Association, and students that want to be part of this field, they are going to work in a lot of different settings. Probably the most common setting is hospitals, and the more common groups of individuals, but they really differ. So TR specialists can work in schools, they can work in correctional facilities, they can work in parks and recreation, they can work with our federal government with through the form of VA hospitals. So they work in a lot of different settings, nursing homes, SNFs, things of that nature. So they work alongside in different settings with OTs, PTs, speech therapists, and other professionals in the medical industries. They work in acute. Well, they'll work a lot of times. You'll see them in subacute facilities as well, um, and so those sort of things. So there's a lot of spaces in which they work. The main population that they do work with tend to be more older adults. However, it doesn't stop them from working. They can also work with young individuals, adults in general, but in large part they're working with people that are either recently experienced or are experiencing some sort of disability, whether it be physical, mental, and the only difference is that their choice of modality is recreation. So that's in essence what they do. And so I remember during my internship, I did my internship in Florida, in Melbourne, Florida, in Health South Sea Pines Rehabilitation Hospital. And what we did, I saw a number of different types of patients, and we just used recreation very strategically to help them get back to what they loved and what they love to do. And so, like, let's say they love swimming, but they had a specific illness, or they just they were, they had recent joint replacement or something along those lines, and they want to get back to swimming. So how do they go about doing that? And so we worked collaboratively with the PT and the OTs to ensure that we all sort of created a plan to help them to make sure that we're all on the same page, and to make sure that they get back to doing the things they loved afterwards. Um, so that's just a tiny little bit about what TR specialists do. Uh, those that want to work in the industry have it's almost pretty much mandatory now, although not in all settings, but it's almost mandatory to become a CTRS. So it's a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. And so that's it's the organization that manages it is called the NCTRC, the National Council for Therapeutic Recreation. And they actually provide the exam. And our students, our passing rate for the past few years has been 100%. So our Rachel does a great job at preparing students. And so, yeah, she does not mess around, by the way. She's a great person. She worked several years in the industry as well, very knowledgeable. And in fact, students in her class actually prepare presentations that are CEU credits for other TR professionals. So through ATRA, through their main organization. So they do a number of different things that impact the field. Uh, what other kind of things? Oh, let me walk you through really quickly through the curriculum. I'll share that with you. One second.
It's you finish in 4 years, right? That's 4 year degree,
That
bachelor.
is okay. That is correct. So this is one of the differences between this and some of the other specialties. After 4 years, you can work.
Right, which is one of the reasons why I'm pushing him in this direction. I just feel like it's so nice to like finish up a 4 years work and then decide if you want to go back for your master's in the same field or tweak it in another a different sense. I feel like this kind of allows for that flexibility, right?
It definitely does. And so, but yes, that is one of the special things that a lot of folks don't know is that yes, after 4 years you can work, and which is different in some industries where it takes a little bit longer before
I
they
couldn't believe when they moved PT to a doctorate.
a doctorate.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, we don't do that. You can get a doctorate in therapeutic recreation if you wish. However, it's highly likely that you're going to go into academia. if
Right.
you go in that direction.
Yeah.
So be
So
able
you
for
said
us
it's
to,
100% pass rate on the exam. Do the students usually take the exam right after they graduate?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So upon graduation, they'll take the exam.
And you mentioned internships. Is there
Yes.
a mandatory internship? Is there a couple of them, or is it just one of them?
Well, there's like the number of sites for internships.
Or just like how much do you do? Is it part of the curriculum?
Absolutely.
Internship?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. An internship is a critical component of our curriculum. And in fact, it's a requirement from the NCTRC in order to sit in the exam through our path. There are different mechanisms to be able to sit in the exam, but through the academic path, you have to have an internship. And they're very specific as to the requirements that you also have to have within the internship. You have to
Yeah.
have certain experiences, certain outcomes, and you have to, at the end of the day, the CTRS has to say, yes, they can take the exam.
Yeah.
So it has to be a CTRS on both ends. So our on the academic side, the whoever supervises him would have to be a CTRS, and whoever supervising him at the agency has to be a CTRS. And there's certain requirements to also to because they cannot be just a brand new CTRS. They have to have had X amount of hours to supervise him and things of that nature for quality control. So yeah,
Is it like a semester's worth of an internship, or is it just?
correct. It's about a semester's worth, and off the top of my head, I don't remember the number of hours. I think it's about 540, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But it is a full-time, you're doing full-time semester, and you're being ingrained in there. And students pretty much right after that, they're looking for work if they're not offered in that specific site.
Yeah, that's great.
So, so I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and share with you the curriculum. Um,
This is where it's safe classes. Do you know around what the latest starting salaries are for therapeutic rec? I know you're not going
that's
to put gobs of money with it, but he was a little concerned. He was like, "Get out!" And you're like a
it,
poor.
I don't know entirely. Excuse me, the starting salaries. That would definitely be a Rachel question. She would have one of the most because I want you to make sure you have the most current information. Um, I do know that there are a variety of different places that because they work in different settings, they're going to be different sort of price points. Like VA hospitals tend to pay fairly decently.
Yeah,
And so, and also it depends on how many years you have and if you're a supervisor, you're a director. So they're going to shift, but um, they tend to be fairly competitive, but I don't know, or and even if you ask me like relatively to like OT, I wouldn't be able to answer that question, but I know she would.
yeah. Well, we can Google it. I'm sure. I just didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
All right, let me go ahead and share the courses. Now, for the courses themselves, all students have a very similar starting point in the sense that they have, can you see this fine?
Hmm.
Okay, so we have a new core that all students are going through. It's actually fairly brand new where we revamped all the classes that went into this. And before it was called the general education, but now it's called our core. And so it highlights a number of things that are very important for us as a college here at Springfield College. And so all students would have to take those. There is some variation in like, for example, here for like literary studies, there'll be a number of different types of classes you could take for that. But the intention here isn't necessarily to connect it to the major, but it's to allow him to give him a space to really explore and to learn about just different things. So if he wants to learn about music, he can learn about music. If he wants to learn about art or dance, he can do that. So this is a little bit about it. And so, but starting from the beginning, students are taking classes already in the major, and this is really important for us. I know some some programs they wait until after your second year to start classes. This is semester one you're starting in. So students in our class, when the first semester, they're taking the introduction to global recreation industry, and this is where I introduced them. I've taught this class for a few years. We talk about TR, but we talk about a lot of other spaces as well, because it's important for them to realize that they can work in many different settings, that they're not limited to one setting. So we introduce them to the whole gamma of it and start talking about professional development right off the beginning, because we want students not only to graduate, but we want them to get jobs. and the type of jobs that they want. So that has to start very early, because I know 4 years seems like a long time, but for us, we only get 4 years with them. So it's important to us. And then they take dynamics of leadership very early on. So anything that's SMRT are classes that are within our major. Within the second semester, they're already in the Foundations of Therapeutic Recreation class. And they'll be doing, actually the programming classes moved to the second year, but very early on, they'll be doing this. And so they'll be doing college writing because it's part of the core. So it's in our curriculum. But then they take adaptive sports 1 and 2, intro to psychology. You were talking about the
Yeah.
so psychology is an important aspect of what we do. In fact, it's important to both our majors. But psych is just a great foundation for us. Psych and social psych are great foundations for understanding individuals and how to best program and work with them and service them. Within the second, this is second year, you are taking, like you're looking at the bios. We're taking a class on inclusive recreation services, which looks at working with people with disabilities and other types of other spaces as well. You're taking classes by the third year, therapeutic recreation management practices. And I believe we added that specific class specifically for the CTRS exam. So it's wanted to make sure that they're getting the type of management knowledge within the TR field. We have TR programming, so programming specifically for therapeutic recreation. They are doing the practicum. So a practicum is they do 120 hours in a specific setting, because therapeutic recreation is actually fairly large as well. And so let's say he's interested in a very specific, so Brady, let's say you're interested in a very specific area, then you can explore it. I've had TR students in the past say things like, I don't like working with kids. Like, I don't want to work with kids at all. They do a practicum with kids, and guess what happens?
They love it.
Well, they found out that the kids love them.
Yeah.
And so then they were like, okay, I'm open to this.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it gives you a chance to explore an area and a space.
So that's basically like a mini internship.
This is precisely.
Yeah.
That's exactly. It's a mini internship.
Already the third year you're doing that. So
Yeah. So students are doing this in the third year, and sometimes in the second half of their spring semester or their sophomore year. Sometimes it just depends. But with one of the challenges we had is with COVID that we've had to modify some of these experiences as well. But students have continued to be able to get either experiences or they've moved experiences online, and we've done other things as well. So we continue to work with students so they can be successful in this. By their fourth year, they're doing eventually their internship. They're taking a class of professional trends, and they're doing their internship. So, and the internship is 12 credits. So it is a full semester worth of classes. Then on top of that, they are taking what are called these flex timing classes, which just other additional requirements for the major. They're taking human disease, chronic illness, human development, and abnormal psych. And then they take either one of these classes, either challenge course facilitator, which so Springfield College is very unique in that we have what's called East Campus, and it's I forgot how many acres it is, something like 80 something acres worth of outdoor space, where they have like high ropes course, low ropes course, and they even have an adventure education minor where students learn about water-based activities, how to properly do challenge courses, land-based activities, and things of that nature.
Is that like American Ninja Warrior stuff?
It would be something kind of akin to, but the idea is, it's interesting. It's actually, we did have I know we had a Springfield College alum a few years ago be on American Ninja Warrior.
See, because he had all that practice.
I don't know if he was a gymnast or not, but anyway, it was fairly interesting. But the idea is because some individuals in TR want to work in outdoor settings.
Yeah.
And so working with people with disabilities and individual disabilities, again, they come all walks of life, all interest areas. So many different spaces to work with them. And there's also, for those that want to work with older populations, so there's a class on needs of the aging. So they would really pick one of the others for that. And then they take 2 classes from either intro to community arts, intro to healthcare ethics, psych of disabilities and illness, or leisure and modern society. And to just so have a bit better sense of just different areas. So this is a little bit about sort of the major. students that do this, they have also the ability to take different minors as well. And I think like a psych minor is not too uncommon because students are already taking different psych classes. But I wouldn't know off the top of my head whether the most common minors. Some of them do adventure education minor because a lot of them are interested in working with people with disabilities in the outdoor settings. Um, so that's not an uncommon one. And there's even, I think, an art therapy minor as well. Sometimes I've seen that as well. So those that might be more inclined into the arts.
Yeah.
So there's different options for individuals, for students to really specialize and get a little bit to know about that. Do you
You
have any?
don't know this, but I'll just ask just in case. Do you think that the students have good, like once they graduate, they usually get a job from Springfield? Is there like
Yes.
a good rate of, I don't know what you call it, but
Yeah, and I wouldn't know the exact rate.
yeah.
And do you?
Yeah, I can jump in. So I don't know specifically within each major, but overall at the college, we actually have a 98% placement rate. So within 6 months of graduating, 98% of our students are either enrolled in a graduate program or they're in a job of their major. So very high placement rate. And it definitely is, contributing factor of our experiential education. So students are getting that hands-on experience way before they get to their formal internship and practicum experiences so that they're able to better tailor their 4 years into what they actually want to do. So definitely, I don't know specifically about the therapeutic rec or recreation management, but overall the college is 98%. So it definitely has to be high up there to help with that percentage.
Yeah, and it's very both programs do very, very well also, and part of it is because we understand the importance of experience, and we embed it. Not only we you don't your first taste of experience isn't in the practicum, so students are usually from the very beginning. In fact, some of those images that you saw were from my freshmen, like the events that they're doing were actually from my freshman class. So they're putting on massive events their freshman year. They're actually starting it from the beginning and working with the actual organizations and putting them together. The one with the young woman in the wheelchair and the young boy in the wheelchair, that was because I had in my class a group of young students who were TR, who want to be TR professionals, and they wanted to work with an organization, a community organization that focused on working with kids with disabilities and people with disabilities. So we put on an event specifically for them, and so that was part of it. So yeah. So that was first year,
That's awesome.
and so yes, it's very important.
That's
But,
great.
were there any questions about the curriculum specifically?
I don't think so. Do you have any questions? Okay. You sure? So enthusiastic.
It's okay.
I love it. It sounds great. I think it sounds like such an exciting field. So I think that that's great. And it sounds like you cover all the good stuff. And I love that you have the internships. I think that that's so important. So that's great. Springfield's not doing live tours now, right? Everything's virtual. Like,
So we are offering in-person tours. The Commonwealth of Mass is limited to 10 individuals for indoor gathering. And then we also have a whole list of high-risk states. So coming from Connecticut, we just ask that if you do sign up for an in-person tour, that you are able to produce a negative test within 72 hours of your visit to campus, just to protect the college community and also yourselves as well. So that's the guidelines from the Commonwealth of Mass for out-of-state visitors coming from pretty much at this rate, everyone is high risk coming from a high-risk state, but you're more than welcome to visit campus in person. We are open up until about like next week for Thanksgiving, and then we are open again through December, right up until the holiday break, and then we'll resume in-person tours again for once the school opens up back in January. But we do also have a lot of virtual options too. So in the meantime, we have a live tour from one of our current students, a ton of like student testimonial videos from different students. So feel free to jump on the website in the meantime before your tour and get a better sense of Springfield College.
oh, that's great. Great.
All right. Brady, are you a junior or a senior this year?
Junior.
Junior. Okay, awesome. So starting early, that's great.
Because his mother is a nag. She makes him.
No, he will eventually appreciate it at some point. He will say, "Thank you for forcing me to do this."
Well, he has two big brothers that are well on their way to, doing what they want to do, and they followed my advice, so I think he will too.
All right, awesome. So
Awesome.
what I'll do too is I will drop my email address in the chat. I'm actually one of the admissions counselors here. So if you do have any questions about Springfield College, the application process, visiting campus, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to connect with you there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And I can also provide you with Rachel's information. I just need just 1 second to get it. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, I think it's just R. Keyworth at Springfield.
Amy, do you know off the top of your head your like requirements just for entering? Like I haven't delved into getting into Springfield. Like what are your SAT requirements and whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. So general course curriculum, we're looking for 3 years of lab science. We're looking for 3 years of math through Algebra 2. So typically that sequences algebra, geometry, and then Algebra 2. 2 years of a social science, so one of your history classes. Typically I know Connecticut has a pretty strict curriculum too, so pretty much matches masses. 2 years of either a foreign language or a tiered elective. So if your foreign language is not required by your school, at least 2 years of a tiered elective or similar elective. And then 4 years of English. And then on top of that, with majority of our programs, we are test optional. So Therapeutic Rec is one of those that we are fully test optional. So it's up to you if you end up next year wanting to take a test, or maybe one of the schools you're applying to does still require test scores. It's up to you if you would like to supplement your application with your SAT or ACT score. We can provide like an average too for the college. And so if you want to know at that point next year, we'll connect you with your admissions counselor so you're able to have a better idea about that. Our average GPA for admitted students is about like a 3.2 range. It does kind of depend on the major, but that's kind of average what we're looking for about an admitted student.
Sounds good. I think we got that plenty covered. So
awesome.
Awesome.
Great.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. This has been very informative. Oh, I'm sorry. You were going to give me the other lady's contact number?
Yes. And so I did send it out there and my information.
Did I miss it? Oh, there it is. Yep.
1 second. And so this is my information. If you did have any additional questions, we work very closely.
Yeah, that's good.
So.
Well, thank you. I feel like we got like such personal care here. We're the only ones here, so that kind of worked out nice.
No, absolutely. We appreciate your time too. We know you have a lot going on, and I know you're probably on Zoom all day anyway. So yeah. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, it was great to meet you both.
I'm sure we'll be in touch.
All right, wonderful. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, I am going to